Namaskar, this is Akhilesh Bhargav. Welcome to Tidbits on Business and Finance with me. A recent monthly report of the Ministry of Finance on the state of the Indian economy says that economic activity has picked up at a rapid pace and that the momentum and growth is so good that it will beat the earlier estimates of India's economic performance for the financial year 2021. The earlier latest estimate of performance of the Indian economy said that the Indian GDP will contract or shrink by 8% in this financial year. If you go by this report of the Ministry of Finance, the shrinking of the Indian economy will be certainly lesser than what has been estimated. The report says that economic activity has caught momentum and pace and that it has happened in almost every sector. It particularly mentions that growth has picked up in construction and service sectors, both of which have got multiple linkages and thus become growth levers for other sectors in the economy to pick up their own activity. The report says that growth in agricultural production and activity continues to be robust and that because of it, rural demand has been looking up. The Ministry of Finance, however, warns that any research or any increase in the COVID pandemic could prove to be a major risk factor in this growth that we are witnessing. It thus says that a rapid production and deployment of vaccines is critical to ensure that the Indian economy's growth stabilizes and that vaccination will support the recovery in the Indian economy in a very critical way. The finance minister surprisingly also comes up with a caution. The finance minister, who normally likes to sound very upbeat, says that any resurge in inflation, whether domestic or global, could prove to be a major downside factor in this economic recovery which is being witnessed. Inflation will throw every possible estimate of growth awry and it will beat any hope or optimism that recovery will come back in such a rapid way as the Ministry of Finance says in its report. The chairman of the Prime Minister's Economic Council, Bibek Debroy, he sounds more optimistic than the report of the Ministry of Finance itself. He says that the worst of the economic crisis caused by COVID is over. He says that economic recovery is now robust and that it is across the board. He further says that in his opinion, the budget has underestimated India's growth and that growth is going to be far better than what has been estimated earlier. And because of that, he says that the Indian economy's growth will look extremely good in the future years to come. He says this despite the fact that the pandemic continues to be there and in fact it has been going up in recent times. While any sense of informed optimism is certainly welcome at such times when we have been facing uncertainty and a sense of crisis in the Indian economy, yet the fact remains that any optimism which is disconnected from the pertinent reality certainly does not cut any ice, it only misleads. And what is the pertinent reality? To us, consumption and investment are major drivers of growth in the Indian economy. And if you are expressing any optimism, if you're saying that growth is looking up in a big way, it must also reflect primarily in consumption, in spending by the consumer, and in investments by the private sector. To us, these two factors, consumption and investments, are the foundation of any durable growth, recovery, and stabilization of the Indian economy. After all, if there is no demand, there will be no supply. And if there is no demand or supply both, how will growth come back? Thus, to us, it is demand which continues to be one of the primary levers of the Indian economy. And it must be closely watched before we express any kind of optimism. A recent report on consumption in India, a recent report on consumer spending actually fails to support this kind of optimism which has come from Bibek Debroy and also from the report of the Ministry of Finance that we just spoke. The report says that while demand in the FMCG sector went up by 7% in the September to December quarter of last year, and even smartphones demand went up by 21%, and so was the case with consumer durables, yet overall consumption in the economy fell by 2.4% in the December quarter. What is being noticed is that sales of essential items, demand for essential items has been looking up. But when it comes to non-essential items, it continues to contract. Demand in the transport sector, in the travel sector, in tourism, in fashion, in apparel, in shoes, in entertainment, in all these sectors, it has been going down. That's a matter of worry. Discretionary spending, non-essential spending has not been looking up. The report further says that while sales in real estate went up by 12% in quarter 3, which is the quarter ended 31st December of last year, on the other hand, on an overall basis, on a year-to-year basis, real estate sales have been down by 29%. Thus, they may have gone up in one quarter, but the overall picture is that the real estate demand has been down by 29% on a year-to-year basis. In the same quarter, air passenger travel fell by 45%. Travel and tourism, which constitute a turnover of 14 lakh crores in India's GDP, has gone down by 30% in the same period. And theatre, moviegoers, who contribute 11,800 crores of turnover for the Indian economy in a year, it has shrunk by 80%. The theatre business has shrunk by 80%. In other words, the consumer is not even willing to go to a theatre and watch a movie. Not just because he doesn't feel very safe, but also because it's a discretionary spending which he is not willing to incur at the moment. Any spending, unless it does not go up in consumption and investment, to us is not going to reflect in a growth in the Indian economy. And that's what we are seeing at the moment. This data regarding the consumer not willing to spend is further supported by a recent report that comes from Nielsen. The Nielsen report says that the urban consumer has little money to spend today in India. It says that the consumer is less confident today about his own income prospects, and that reflects on his reluctance to spend money. Jobs have been lost, salaries have been decimated and cut, and that means consumption, spending goes down. According to the Nielsen report, 60% of urban consumers today are constrained because of lower income and worsening financial position. And that, of course, means they have not been spending. Another report that comes from CMI says that 15 million jobs have been lost between March 2020 to December 2020, and that those jobs have not come back. Loss of that many jobs means that much of consumption spending not happening. The reasons why the Indian consumer is not willing to spend are very obvious, and there are many. The first, of course, is receding jobs, receding livelihood. Jobs being lost, businesses getting decimated or closed means the power and willingness to spend, of course, goes down. The second is there might be times of crisis that the country might face. At that time, the government steps in to provide support in order to ensure that jobs are saved, livelihood is maintained. It means the government steps in to give fiscal support to all those who need it, direct financial support. The fiscal support that the government claims that it gave last year did not give any kind of direct financial support to all those who have lost jobs, to all those whose livelihood has gone down in a substantial manner. And with the government unwilling to give support or not capable of providing financial support, the consumer knows that he has to fend for himself. There's no support coming from the system. He's bound to save every rupee that he has. The next one, of course, is inflation. The more prices go up, the more the consumer lacks confidence and he's not going to spend money. We are seeing that. With international oil prices going up, with prices of diesel and petrol in India remaining at all-time highs, inflation has been buoyant and looking up, and that is impacting the ability and willingness of the consumer to spend. Yet another factor is the government's attitude in terms of handling this entire crisis. Any state of denial, any attempt to paint a false picture of optimism does not cut ice with the consumer. The ground reality is known to the households who have lost jobs or whose businesses have suffered. And if the government gives any kind of an optimism which is not supported by that reality, the consumer only goes in a shell, not willing to spend. Because of all this, there is compulsion to save. There is compulsion to ensure that whatever money is there is kept under a tight watch, not spent. Only essential goods are bought. Non-essential discretionary spending does not take place. The prevailing uncertainty in the economy, the chances that the COVID pandemic will resurge in a big way further dampens the spirit of the consumer to spend. And all that means the consumer today lacks confidence. The consumer lacks confidence in his own future financial welfare and well-being, and he is bound to save every rupee in order to tide the difficult times that we face. According to us, it is good to display optimism, but optimism which is disconnected from the apparent reality it only becomes misleading. And that is what we think comes across when we see the statements of Bibek Debroy or the report of the Ministry of Finance. To us, the point or place where optimism is needed is in the minds of the consumer. Only when the consumer becomes optimistic is when he's going to demand, is going to spend. And when spending takes place, supply takes place, and the economy looks up, it catches a rapid pace of growth. That is missing at the moment, and we think that's a matter of concern. This is Akhilesh Bhargav signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
Hello everyone. HW News English is 2 years old now. When we started this venture, we promised ourselves one thing, that news should remain free, because right to know is the right of every Indian. But to keep news free for everyone, we need support from some of you. And thus we have rolled out membership on our YouTube channel HW News English. But mind you, the membership is completely voluntary. The programs that we were doing earlier, that we are doing now, will continue to remain free. First level is a basic level. Here, you can be our supporter by paying Rs 199 per month. This membership gives you certain perks and benefits. The perks include unique badges in front of your name, a live show from Mr. Sujit Nair and from Mr. Akhilesh Bhargava per month for our members. You can also vote in some exclusive members-only polls. Now the second level is Super Supporter. Here you can be our Super Supporter by paying Rs 3,999 per month. This membership will include every perk that comes with basic level. Additionally, our Super Supporters can be a part of a WhatsApp group where we can have discussions and suggestions on various topics. The second perk includes a gift pack with our merchandise. And the third perk is a Google Meet with Mr. Sujit Nair, where you can join the meet and ask your questions to Mr. Nair face to face. Lastly, if you like, we would give a shout out to our super supporters in our programs. So, hope to see you soon with our badges.
The emerging backbone of India's economy are our startups. They represent India's youth. They represent India's aspirations. They represent India's hopes. They represent our fight against an insensitive bureaucracy, against an insensitive system. They represent the fight of our startup entrepreneurs against an indifferent system, against an insensitive banker, against challenges of dealing with the government, and against all the odds with which they started a startup. Every startup begins with a brilliant idea, a unique idea, an idea which nobody else thought of, and that becomes a business enterprise. We are starting our next episode series on what we call Startup Stories. It is a curiosity to know what was that idea, what was the motivation, what was the determination because of which one talented entrepreneur, without any background of business perhaps, decided to venture out on his own and create a successful enterprise. These are the ideas that motivate us also. If you have a startup story which is interesting, we would want to talk to you also. Come back to us with your own startup stories, and you might also be the person we would like to talk to.